Everyone watching this is at one of these levels, but most of you are deeper in than you'd like to admit. Level 1. The Fixated Stranger. You're 23 years old. You're sitting in a coffee shop on a Tuesday afternoon. You're scrolling through Instagram, and you see her. Maybe a friend liked her photo. Maybe she showed up in your suggested feed. It doesn't matter how. What matters is you can't look away. You tap her profile. 468 posts. You start scrolling. You go back 2 years. You read every caption. You study every photo. You zoom in on the backgrounds trying to figure out where she lives, where she works, where she hangs out. You find her Twitter, her LinkedIn, her old Facebook. You piece together her life like a jigsaw puzzle from things she doesn't even realize she's sharing. Her dog's name is Biscuit. Her favorite restaurant is a Thai place on Maple Street. The gym she goes to has a purple awning. If this sounds familiar, that's the point. You've done this. Maybe not for 45 minutes, maybe not 468 posts deep, but you've done it. The difference between you and what comes next is a question of degree. You close the app. You open it again 10 minutes later. You check if she's posted anything new. She hasn't. You check again before bed, and again at 2 a.m. when you can't sleep. The FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit has a word for what's happening to you. They call it fixation. It's the first indicator on their threat assessment pathway. 3.4 million Americans are stalked every year. Every single case started exactly like this. You tell yourself you'll stop tomorrow. You won't. Level 2. The Digital Shadow. It's been 2 months. You know her schedule by her posting patterns. She posts from the gym at 7:30 a.m. on weekdays. She's at a bar with friends every Friday around 9. She visits her parents on the second Sunday of every month. You've never met her. She doesn't know you exist. But you know her. You create a second account. No profile photo, no posts, no followers. You follow her from this account so she can't trace it back to your real name. You screenshot her stories before they disappear. You have a folder on your phone. 247 images. All of her. You look up her social profiles and you can see who she interacts with most. Her roommate's name is Jessica. She has a close circle of 4 or 5 friends. You find her on a dating app. You swipe right. She doesn't match with you. That bothers you more than it should. You Google her full name once a day. You set up alerts so you'll be notified if she's mentioned anywhere online. You spend 2 hours a day doing this. You tell yourself it's a crush. Everyone does this. But not everyone has 247 screenshots in a hidden folder. Not everyone tracks a stranger's social activity like it's their full-time job. The FBI classifies what you're doing as cyberstalking under 18 U.S. Code 2261A, a federal crime. Up to 5 years in prison. But you don't think of it that way. You think you're just curious. You know where she works out. You've known for a week. You haven't gone. Yet. Level 3. The Follower. You found the gym. It took 3 days of cross-referencing her tagged photos with Google Street View, but you found it. A Planet Fitness on West 34th. Purple awning, just like in the background of her selfie from March. You sign up. $25 a month. You go every morning at 7:15. You pick a treadmill with a clear sight line to the weight area. The first time you see her in person, your heart rate hits 140 without running a single step. She's real. She's right there. 30 feet away, doing RDLs with white earbuds in, completely unaware that you've memorized the shape of her handwriting from a birthday card she posted last November. She has no idea you exist. You go 5 days a week now. You rearrange your entire work schedule around hers. You start taking the same subway line home. You sit 3 cars behind her. You know she gets off at Bergen Street. You've walked behind her to her apartment building 12 times. Red brick, 4 stories. Black fire escape on the south side. You've driven past it 26 times. You know which window is hers. 3rd floor, second from the left. The light goes off at 11:15 most nights. You start a journal. Dates, times, locations, what she wore, who she was with. Page after page of handwritten observations stored in a locked drawer in your desk. You spend $60 a week on gas driving past her building. You spend 4 hours a day on her, watching, following, documenting. Your boss mentions you've been distracted. Your friends say you've been distant. You don't care. You found something more important than all of them. But here's what the FBI knows that you don't. The line between watching and hunting is thinner than you think. And you just crossed it. Level 4. The tracker. Watching from a distance isn't enough anymore. You need more. You need to be closer. You need to know everything. You order a GPS tracker online. It costs less than a pair of shoes, the size of a matchbox. You wait until 2 a.m. on a Wednesday. You walk to her building. Your hands are shaking. You crouch beside her car, a silver Honda Civic, and you attach the device where no one would think to look. That small click changes everything. Now she's a blinking blue dot on your phone screen, all day, all night. You watch the dot while you eat breakfast. She leaves for work at 8:45, parks on level 3 of the garage, leaves at 5:42, stops at Trader Joe's on Tuesdays, drives to a house in Westchester on weekends, her parents. You map her entire life from a phone screen while sitting on your couch. Then you go further. You find surveillance software online. You get access to her phone. How doesn't matter. What matters is what happens next. Now you can read every text she sends, every email, every search she types at 1 a.m. You can see who calls her and how long they talk. You know she's been texting a guy named Jacob. They went on 2 dates. She told Jessica he's sweet. Something twists in your chest when you read that. Not sadness, rage. You've spent over $1,000 on this so far. You call in sick to work regularly. You sleep 4 hours a night because you stay up monitoring her every move. This is your life now. Level 5. The intruder. She goes to her parents' house for Thanksgiving, 4 days away. You watch the blue dot leave the city on your phone screen. You wait to make sure she doesn't turn around. Then you go. You figured out how to get into her building. You've been watching the entrance for weeks. It took patience and timing, but you managed. You find yourself standing inside her apartment, alone. You don't move for 30 seconds. Shoes by the door, jacket on the hook, a half-empty glass of water on the counter. Her perfume still hangs in the air, something floral. You move through the apartment slowly, looking at everything. The photos on the fridge, the books on the shelf, the coffee mug in the sink. You take a t-shirt from the back of a drawer. An old one she'll never notice is missing. You sit on her couch for 20 minutes. You just sit there, taking it all in. The FBI calls this behavior approach. When a stalker enters the victim's personal space, it is one of the strongest predictors that the case will turn dangerous. Before you leave, you check that everything is exactly where you found it. You walk back to your car and you realize something. You're not nervous anymore. The fear is gone. It's been replaced by something else. A feeling of closeness. You were in her world. She'll come home and never know you were there. According to the Department of Justice, in the majority of intimate partner homicides, the victim had been stalked by the perpetrator in the year before. You don't think about that statistic. You don't think you're dangerous. But you've crossed a line that almost no one comes back from. Level 6. The controller. She found the GPS tracker. A mechanic spotted it during a routine check and called the police. She filed a report. She got a restraining order. A judge signed a piece of paper that says you must stay 500 feet away from her at all times. It costs her $400 in filing fees and a day off work. It costs you nothing. Studies show that restraining orders are violated approximately 40% of the time. You violate yours within 48 hours. But you've evolved. You don't follow her in person anymore. You don't need to. The surveillance software is still active. She hasn't found that yet. You're still reading every message. You still know where she is every second of every day. Only 29% of stalking victims even report the crime to police. She's one of them. It didn't help. Now you start dismantling her life from behind a screen. You create anonymous accounts and send her employer messages with false accusations. You send Jessica screenshots of private conversations and claim they came from a mutual friend. You want to isolate her, cut off every person she trusts until there's no one left. You call her mother's house from a blocked number in the middle of the night. You don't say anything, you just wait. Then you hang up. You do it 3 nights in a row. Her mother stops sleeping. Her mother calls her crying. The FBI calls this third-party victimization. You're not just targeting one person anymore. You're expanding the fear to everyone she loves. The victim count isn't 1. It's her mother. It's Jessica. It's Jacob. It's her employer. It's everyone who ever made her feel safe. You've been fired from your job. Excessive absences. That was 3 months ago. You've spent thousands on equipment, burner phones, and gas. You haven't spoken to your own mother in 6 weeks. Your apartment has printouts taped to the wall above your desk. A timeline of her movements, color-coded by day of the week. From the outside, it looks like a crime board from a detective show. From the inside, it feels like devotion. But here's what you can't see. She dominates every single thought you have. Every hour of your day is organized around her. You can't eat without checking her location first. You can't sleep without reading her messages. She is the center of your entire universe, and she doesn't even want you in it. You have total surveillance over her life and zero control over your own. You think you're the one with the power. You're not. You're the prisoner. You just don't know it yet. Level 7. The Predator. It's 1:47 a.m. You're parked outside her building. 3rd floor, 2nd window from the left. The light just went off. She's going to sleep. You've been sitting here for 3 hours. You come here almost every night now. The restraining order says 500 feet. You're parked 40 feet from her front door. She lives alone now. Jessica moved out after the anonymous messages destroyed their friendship. Jacob stopped answering her calls after you sent him photos of her with another person. Photos you took from a distance with a telephoto lens. Her mother is too frightened to visit. You've severed every connection in her life, one by one, until no one is left. The isolation is complete. The FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit has a term for where you are now. They call it the Final Act Pathway. Fixation, identification, planning and preparation, breach. You're at breach. Studies have shown that in the majority of cases where a stalker escalates to violence, the victim had been stalked beforehand. Many of those victims had reported the stalking to police before anything happened. Reporting didn't save them. The restraining order didn't save them. The system doesn't stop people like you. It only documents them. You sit in your car and you look up at that dark window and you feel something you haven't felt in months. Nothing. The obsession used to feel electric, urgent, alive. Now it feels like concrete, heavy, gray, permanent. You can't remember what your life was before her. You had friends once. You had a career. You had hobbies. You had a gym membership you used for yourself, not surveillance. You had a mother who called every Sunday and you actually picked up. Now you have a car that smells like fast food wrappers, a phone full of someone else's stolen messages, 2,300 photos of a woman who is terrified of you, and a restraining order you violated 114 times. You are what the FBI classifies as a predatory stalker, the most dangerous category in their typology, the type most likely to escalate. You are also the most pathetic. You sacrificed everything, your job, your friends, your family, your freedom, your sanity, for a person who would cross the street to avoid you. You built a prison around her and locked yourself inside it with her. There is no version of this where you win. There is no scenario where she loves you. There is no ending where you're happy. You know this. Somewhere deep beneath the obsession, in whatever corner of your brain still functions normally, you know. but you can't stop. The obsession doesn't answer to logic. It doesn't answer to law. It doesn't answer to you. It just demands more, always more, and there is nothing left to give. Level 8, the end. She disappears. New city, new name, new phone number. Every social media account deleted. The surveillance software stopped transmitting when she replaced her phone. The GPS tracker is in a police evidence bag. Her entire digital footprint is gone. She erased herself to escape you. A human being had to destroy her own identity because of what you became. Think about that. And now you're sitting in your apartment. The walls are still covered in photos, but the photos are old now. The timeline is out of date. The blue dot on your phone screen is frozen on a map that hasn't updated in weeks. You stare at it anyway. Your phone rings. It's a detective. They've built a case. Cyberstalking, criminal trespass, 114 documented violations of a protective order, harassment, intimidation, federal and state charges. You're looking at 8 to 15 years. Your mother finds out when your name shows up on the local news. Everyone you've ever known will Google your name and find what you became. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is what happens after. The obsession doesn't die in a cell. It starves. Without the target, the fixation has nothing to feed on. So it fades. Slowly. Over months, the blue dot on the phone screen that used to be her becomes a memory, then a blur, then nothing. And for a while, you feel empty, like someone removed the engine from your chest and left the shell. Then one day, you're sitting somewhere. A coffee shop maybe, or the prison library, or a bus stop after you've served your time, trying to rebuild a life from the wreckage. And you see someone. Maybe she's at the next table. Maybe she walked past the window. Maybe her profile appeared in your feed on a Tuesday afternoon. And something clicks behind your eyes. The same something that clicked in a different coffee shop on a different Tuesday when you told yourself it was just curiosity. The FBI knows this too. Stalkers reoffend at significant rates. Not always the same victim. Sometimes it's someone new. Someone who smiled at them on the subway. Someone who has no idea what's sitting across the room, watching. And the cycle continues.